Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking something that sounds incredibly complex from the outside, but at its core is actually surprisingly simple. We're looking at cryptocurrency mining. If you've ever wondered what all those massive computer farms are actually doing to earn digital money, the truth is it's really just a giant, highly competitive guessing game. To truly wrap our heads around how this works, we have to start right here, with this absurdly massive number. That is 1 sexillion, a 1 followed by 21 zeros. And what this number represents is the sheer volume of random guesses happening on the Bitcoin network every single second. Yes, you heard that right. Every single second. But to understand why the network is furiously making a sexillion guesses a second, we kind of have to step back and look at the actual problem this whole system was built to solve. So, what if keeping digital money safe really was just a giant guessing game? Well, the core problem of digital money is trust, right? If there's no central bank or authority in charge to oversee things, how do you prevent people from committing fraud? Specifically, how do you stop someone from taking a single digital coin and just spending it twice? The answer the system came up with is surprisingly straightforward, and it completely bypasses the need for a traditional bank. Which brings us to part one, the giant public notebook.
You've definitely heard the term blockchain thrown around, but let's cut through the jargon. Essentially, a blockchain is just a shared public record. You can think of it like a massive notebook that everyone in the world can read and agree upon at the same time. Each new page of this notebook records the latest set of transactions. But here's the catch. Pages don't magically write themselves. Someone has to actually collect the transactions, verify they're legitimate, and propose the next page to the network.
And that is exactly where the miners enter the picture. Miners are people all over the world running specialized hardware, actively competing against each other to lock in that next page of the notebook. Why go through all the trouble? Because the network offers a seriously irresistible bounty. The winner gets to add their page, and as a reward, the system mints them a bit of brand new Bitcoin. This is actually how new coins enter circulation in the first place, at least until Bitcoin reaches its programmed hard limit of 21 million coins. So clearly, there is a massive financial incentive to win here. But how exactly do they do it? Let's get into Section 2, a competitive guessing game. You might assume mining involves writing brilliant code or using some deep, complex algorithmic strategy. It doesn't. At all. It's practically a frantic lottery. Miners' computers generate random guesses. They feed those guesses through a cryptographic formula, which you can kind of picture as a mathematical blender that spits out completely unpredictable results. Then, they check to see if that output falls within a specific winning range. If it doesn't, they immediately guess again. It is not about smarts, it is entirely about sheer speed and luck. David Milan from Maynooth University really hits the nail on the head here. As he points out, what's actually happening beneath the hood is pure brute force guessing. And this guessing process uses massive amounts of computing power, which naturally translates to massive amounts of electricity. So the absolutely crucial point is this entire operation is called proof of work for a very literal reason. It proves that the miners spent real-world resources, meaning energy and computing power, to earn their reward. By making the guessing game so incredibly resource-intensive, the network ensures that cheating is virtually impossible. I mean, if someone wanted to go back and alter a past transaction to steal money, they would have to literally outcompute the entire rest of the network combined. It's what makes the system incredibly secure without needing to trust any single entity. But wait, if miners are constantly adding faster and faster computers to win this race, wouldn't the pages get written faster and faster? Well, that leads us perfectly into part 3, the 10-minute rule. This is honestly one of the most elegant parts of the whole system. The network constantly auto-adjusts its own difficulty. Every 2 weeks, it checks how fast the miners are finding those winning guesses. If they're guessing too fast, the network makes the game harder. It's kind of like suddenly handing everyone much bigger dice to roll. If they're too slow, the dice get smaller. The target is always to lock in one new page roughly every 10 minutes, keeping it perfectly steady. And to control inflation, the reward given to miners drops by half every 210,000 blocks, so the payout is continuously shrinking over time. Cryptographer Joseph Bono sums this up perfectly. The system is fundamentally difficult by design. You could invent a hyper-efficient sci-fi computer chip tomorrow, and it wouldn't speed up the overall network at all. The puzzle would simply become twice as hard, just to maintain that steady 10-minute heartbeat. But continually handing everyone larger dice to roll and making the puzzles harder creates a very real complication.
Let's look at part 4, the massive energy cost. Let's zoom out to the physical world for a second. This giant guessing game currently consumes an estimated 0.29% of the entire planet's annual electricity. To put that into perspective, the Bitcoin network uses more energy than the entire country of Serbia. Let that sink in.
To bring that number a little closer to home, the energy burned to mine just a single block, so 1 page of transaction data on the network, consumes enough electricity to power more than 28 typical US homes for a full 24 hours. And remember, a new block is being mined every 10 minutes, all day, every day. This intense competition has totally transformed the hardware landscape. Over on the left here, we have GPUs. These are general-purpose chips found in everyday computers, which some cryptos, like Ethereum, have traditionally used. They're technically greener because if the mining stops, you can still use them for gaming or processing video. But on the right, you have ASICs. Because Bitcoin mining is so incredibly competitive, miners use these application-specific integrated circuits. These are custom-built, highly energy-hungry machines with absolutely no other purpose in the world than rolling these digital dice as fast as humanly possible. If Bitcoin disappeared tomorrow, these machines would literally just be e-waste. And all of this fuels a massive, vicious cycle. It goes like this. When the price of crypto rises, mining becomes incredibly profitable, especially in places where electricity is cheap. That profit naturally attracts more miners who plug in more of those ASIC machines. Because the network is now guessing faster, the automated rules kick in and increase the difficulty of the puzzles. And, as you guessed it, that increased difficulty demands even more computing power and even more electricity. It's just an endless loop. So, with the network burning more energy than some sovereign nations, it forces us to ask a pretty critical question. In part 5, can crypto go green? The hard truth we have to face here is that the hardware isn't actually the root problem, it's the protocol itself. As long as the system relies on proof of work, it's intentionally difficult by design. The network is heavily incentivized to consume energy. In a weird way, that burned energy is the very shield that protects the network from attacks. However, some developers are trying to circumvent this entirely. While proof of work secures the network by burning massive amounts of electricity, an alternative model has emerged called proof of stake. Used by networks like Dash and Pivx, proof of stake doesn't actually require users to burn energy. Instead, users simply lock up a quantity of their own existing cryptocurrency to secure the network. It offers a potential middle path, a way of securing digital money without requiring the energy grid of a small country. Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative trade-off to consider. Through this giant, competitive guessing game, humanity has miraculously solved the problem of digital trust. We've created a secure, public notebook that operates perfectly without a central bank. But with the staggering amount of electricity required to constantly roll those digital dice, we have to ask ourselves, is a completely trustless system really worth the physical cost to our environment? It is a fascinating question, and one the crypto world is still actively wrestling with today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.